so much of our life is defined by when those things happen. We say, oh, look, I finished this race. Oh, look, I set this time, or I caught this pass, or I built this business, or I got this sale in my company. All of those things are what showcases what we've accomplished. But I've come to a conclusion that what really makes us successful is not what we do or what we've accomplished. It's what we gave up.
Welcome back to another episode of Two Types of People. I am the author of the upcoming book this summer, 2026, and the host of the show. And today I have Larry G. Linne. And Larry, I was trying to think of the way I was going to introduce you. You know, former NFL, elite business coach, my mentor, my friend, co-author in Brand Aid, my fishing buddy. I don't know which one. I mean, come on. I don't know which one to start with, but I think for the viewers, we'll at least say all those things and more, and a contributor to the book. Larry was the guy when I first decided that I was going to write this. He was the first person I told before I told my wife, before I told my kids. I called Larry, went out in the backyard with the dog, and I said, Larry, I think I'm ready to write the next book. And what has happened over the last 3 years, I don't think we could have imagined, but here we are. So Larry, thanks for finally coming on. I know you're a busy guy, and to get you fresh out of Canada onto the show today, here we are. So thanks for coming on the show, buddy.
Buddy, it's I always like hanging out with you. And since you went ahead and just threw out a few little nuggets at me, I'll just let them know that your nickname is Cricket, because as we fished together for quite a few years in the back bay areas of Florida on kayaks. Every time we would go out, this guy, if the fish chased him, he didn't have to chase the fish, and he always outfished me. So I named him Cricket because I think he's fish bait. I don't know what it is, but yeah, thanks for letting me hang out with you, buddy.
That's right. That's why we got the kayak, so I could show you around my old stomping grounds. And we actually, you wrote an article in Rough Notes about it once. We told the story about the young guy with his social media and phones and such telling you where the fish were, I think is what you were talking about. So.
That's exactly right. No, we've had a great run, and I've enjoyed my time with you in the past, and we continue to just challenge each other and be the best that we can be. And I appreciate that in you.
Absolutely. And we've been business partners on and off for goodness gracious, 20 something years now, I think. So, all right. So Larry, I want to start and get the audience a little bit more introduced to you. You know, I threw out a bunch of titles and accolades and things like that. And we didn't even talk about white chocolate yet, which I'm sure we'll get to, but
no, let's don't do that.
Oh, we will do that. We will do that. But let's start. What we're trying on the show now is I want to give people an inside look at who you are as a person instead of just telling the story, which we'll get to. But I asked you to bring a few items. So the first was a precious item. So, thinking about the Lord of the Rings, you're precious, but something that really defines you. So let's start with your item and we'll go from there.
All right. Well, I as usual, you would expect, I don't play by the rules. So, you said that I had to have some type of precious items or an item, and I have three that I had because I just couldn't decide between the three. So
Okay.
I just decided I'm gonna pick them all. So the first one really goes to the book because you know that my two types of people, and I don't know if I'm supposed to reveal that too soon, but those who decide they want to do something, and those who actually do it. And in front of me is this beautiful pewter thing. A friend of mine gave it to me, and my nickname is Yoda, which I think is kind of funny now. I'm known as Yoda in to a lot of my clients because I give this sage advice, I guess. Either that or I'm a short, goofy looking guy. I don't know, but at the end of the day, this is valuable to me because every time I look at it, I'm reminded that you either got to do something or you can talk about it. And you can say, I have big ideas to do it. And we'll talk more about this later, of course, as part of the book. But it's a great reminder to me of being an action person and always executing and performing. And, I'm not a big believer in activities. I don't want to brag about activities. I don't want to say I'm working hard. I'm working long hours. I'm exhausted. Those to me are things that actually are negative things about a human being if that's who you are. To me, positives are results. And Yoda says, you got to do or do not do. And I just do, and I execute, and I get results, and very disciplined around doing that. So that's the first item. Now, probably out of fairness, I should have gone to the real first item. And the one thing that I find precious, and I know this is going to sound a little hokey and like I'm trying to make up to my wife or something right now, but I wake up every day, and truly, that's the first thing I think of is the woman lying next to me. I just am blown away by the concept that another human being would look at me and say, connecting and marrying and being a part of this guy's life, he is going to be the best human being of all the billions of people that exist. He's the best possible person to make my life the best it could be. And that's what my wife decided 34 years ago, is that this guy is going to make me my best. And I feel like I have to honor that. And so every day when I wake up, I truly, that's the first thought on my mind. I look at her, and she's next to me in bed, and my thought is, what am I going to do today to honor that decision? So I couldn't bring her with me. She's
It's
kind
too
of,
bad.
she doesn't always want to go wherever I want to go. But if I could bring her right now and say that my wife, that is my precious, it drives me. Every day I have to ask myself, what do I do today to honor that decision? What can I do now to make her life better? And the commitment that she made to me, I have to honor that. So that's a huge, precious item to me as well. And then the third one, you can't see it until I tell you.
Okay.
But you can see it, and that is right there. You can see a little scar, and right there you can see a little scar. And as you know, the story behind that was I was a cyclocross racer, which is a bicycle on in the or the back roads in there, or in dirt, and not mountain biking, but cyclocross. And I was in a bad crash, and I broke my neck, and I crushed C1 and C2. And when I crushed C1 and C2, I didn't really know it was that bad, but I get to the hospital. The doctor was crying when she told me that I had I'd crushed C1, C2, that my spine had actually, the vertebrae had moved across my spine. I should be dead. I shouldn't be living, or at least should be in a wheelchair or something, paralyzed. And I was put in a halo for 4 months. And after the 4 months was over with, for some reason, thanks to God and thanks to my health over all the years, not being a smoker, not being a drinker, doing the things that created a healthy life, somehow those vertebrae went right back where they were supposed to be. And so every day I look in the mirror, and those two precious things right there, that's the halo. I have four of them. That's where the halo was screwed into my head. And it reminds me that I'm alive. And there's nothing today, nothing tomorrow, that is any kind of a problem in my life, because I'm living an extra day that I didn't have, and I'm doing it with a full healthy body. I can play golf, I can run, I can cycle, I can do a lot of things, and every day I'm reminded that that's a gift, and that's precious to me, and life is a precious thing. And so my wife, and knowing I've got to serve her, my life being what it is, there is no pain that I can go through mentally or physically that I can't say thank you. I'm glad I have it, because I know what the alternative is. So those are my precious, man. I don't know if that gets to know me or not.
I would say those are three excellent ones. Someone who's known you as long as I have, and as intimately, I guess, as I do, and to have been with you, through a lot of those. I mean, obviously, I've known Deb for as long as I've known you, and to know you not only through the cyclocross accident, but we talk about it in the book as well, getting ready for Leadville 100, and I'm sure we'll get there as well. But to know that you've been through some really big things. And that's what I love about this project. And you and I have talked about it multiple times over the last 3 years, even up when we were fishing, a couple of years ago, is everyone that we talked to through this project has had those big things that they've had to get through, those seasons, those crashes. We've got Sika Henry, who was the first African-American female professional triathlete in the US, who had a massive, horrific accident and came back to race. No one that we've talked to at the highest levels, these elite people, have gone, well, it was, I went to high school and I was an All-American and college, and then I was a pro, and now I've got these endorsement deals and life's been awesome. I mean, it's just no one has that easy path. So some of us have to wear our scars on our faces, as you and I do, but those are three excellent ones. So, all right. So
Thank you.
Larry, goodness gracious, I don't even know where to start. I think let's start with, you high school, college real quick, growing up in Texas. I want to start there because, we do have a bunch of people that love the NFL and college football that listen to this show, and we'll get to what you're doing now. So let's go on that journey.
Yeah, it's been so long, and one of the things one of my great mentors told me was that always make your future greater than your past, and I am very proud of my past, and my past has built the foundations that allow me to make better decisions. My past has given me the tools to push through things because I've pushed through things before that were hard, and was able to get to the other side of them. So the past is valuable, but my future is definitely always greater than my past. But yeah, I grew up in West Texas. I'm a Friday Night Lights kid. I played at Midland Lee High School. The actual book was written, I think, on the 1983 season. Written in 1986. I was a 1980 graduate of Midland Lee High School. Played against Odessa Permian. So all the TV shows and stuff that people have seen. I was one of those idiot kids that was a part of that world, and I was the underdog. I mean, I was the kid that was too small to play. I actually got hurt the first day of freshman practice and was too small to play and had to sit out a full year. Came back the next year and tried out again. Still was small, but by the time I finished high school, in a very prominent environment for football with Friday Night Lights, where we had 20,000 plus people at every game. I ended up being the MVP and had all kinds of accolades and rewards as a wide receiver and best offensive player on the team and those kinds of things. But I did it as a kid that was not highly recognized and had to fight my way up. Then nobody wanted me in college. I still was too slow. I was still small. I didn't. I grew after high school. Grew about 3 more inches and put on about 40 pounds. But that happened when I went to the University of Texas. I went down to Austin and got into that program and had some a wonderful experience. I was there in the 1981 season where we played in the 1982 Cotton Bowl against Alabama and did win that game. Um, Obviously, I was a freshman, but I went through a pretty amazing experience because as a walk-on, they don't want you there. They're not interested in walk-ons, and I went through a pretty amazing experience just to be able to earn the right to allow me to be there. It was about 160 athletes that came out to try out for the team, and they put you through a rigorous week, and they try to hurt you. And I was the only one that lasted through that time. So I ended up being on the team and being a part of that program for that year. Learned a ton of things. Recognized that I was probably not ever really going to get a chance to play there because they recruit such amazing talent. There was 23 players on that team that went into the NFL. So I didn't see a whole lot of hope for myself, but it was a great experience. And so I left, went to junior college for a year, and then I went to the University of Texas, El Paso. Started for 3 years at the University of Texas, El Paso, got my degree, which was also an important thing for me. I was the kid even growing up that I was told I probably shouldn't even go to college. Wasn't smart enough. I was just a late developing brain and body. And, my teachers said, look, you need to go to trade school. You need to do something else. I wanted that degree. So I got multiple degrees in my life now. And I was able to then play at UTEP, had great success. And then once again, nobody wants me. I was told I was going to be drafted by the St. Louis Cardinals. They said, hey, we like you. We think you're a good middle round pick. And every team in the NFL had talked to me. But at the end of the day, nobody really wanted me. And St. Louis had access to 3 receivers in the first 3 rounds. So that I went right off their list at that point. So ended up getting a free agent contract with the New England Patriots. Went out there, made it to the last day of the cuts, the very last day, and they sent me home. And trained for a whole year between that year and the next season. Came back again, got a chance to get all the way to the last cuts, and once again they said, Larry, you're almost there, but we're going to try to move you. And they tried to trade me. They tried to give me opportunities at other teams, and nothing happened. And so they said they were going to release me. Well, then all of a sudden they said the Cowboys wanted me. So they ended up releasing me, and the Cowboys picked me up. So I went to Dallas, which was where my home was anyway, and spent a couple of weeks with the Cowboys, and then the strike came up, and I refused to play through the strike, and so they released me. And New England Patriots called me back and said, "Hey, Larry, we already know what's going to happen in the strike. It's going to be about a 3 week period. They're going to put on a developmental team, which is now we know as the practice squads. That was when it happened. Was 1987." And they said, "Come play through the strike, and we're going to keep you all. We'll do a guaranteed contract." So I think I was the only player that got a guaranteed contract in the strike days, but got on the team, played through the strike. Got to Doug Flutie came back, and I got to catch his first touchdown pass, which with the Patriots, and then they kept me on the team the remainder of the year. So I got to be there as a part of the practice squad and be a part of the travel and the whole experience of being a part of the Patriots. Then I went to the Chargers after that. They released me, and I realized, Patrick, I'm not good enough. So I probably shouldn't keep chasing this. And I felt like there was a better opportunity to go into the business world. So that's where I went from there. That's the life. That's how I've moved through everything. Football was a great entry. My father played in the NFL for the Baltimore Colts, and he told me, he said, when you get out there, do your best, play as much as you can, get out, and when you get out, make your future greater than your past. Number one, and number two, use that football experience to get all the opportunities you can, and then the minute you get somewhere after they let you in, make them forget you played football. And that's my goal. I mean, just like today, we can talk about football now, but I hope at the end of the conversation, I hope the people that listen to this say, "Man, I learned a lot of things from Larry and Patrick, and but his life experiences are so valuable." And it's not about the football. It's about making people better through a lot of different things that I can do. So that's been my journey.
That we're establishing, right? Because yes, as we get there, people are going to walk away going, "This is an elite business coach, and my goodness, how do I get in touch with this guy?" Because I will tell you, spending again over 20 years with him, the work Larry did with me from day one. I stepped into a family business, and he took me and said, "I got you, buddy." And it's been a friendship, and I tell people still to this day that I got a master's degree in the first 2 months of just being around him. And he pushed me into situations that I had no business being in. Clients, it's just the things that he saw in me that he got out of me when, I was a 24-year-old kid who just got done playing baseball. And so for you to bring up the advice you got that you gave to me, that was pretty awesome in that story, because you've told me that every single time from the day I got to start working with you to the day that I transitioned out and started doing marketing full time. It's always about you celebrating the good and the bad of the past and learning from it, but certainly learning into that future. So yeah, we're gonna certainly focus on that. For sure. But the Doug Flutie thing, for those, I'm sure I'll be able to find the picture. I have it somewhere. We'll post it, but there's an amazing picture of Larry laid out to catch that first Flutie touchdown. I actually got to talk to Doug last year at the J Fund golf tournament. So I got to go up to him and talk to him about that pass, and he said hello. So nice little interaction with Doug, and reliving that old memory with him.
Yeah, cool experience. And again, I've been blessed. You get opportunities in your life, whether it's somebody gives you a job or somebody throws you the right pass at the right time. It was a diving, laying out catch in the back of the end zone. I caught it and slid out of the back of the end zone. And everybody that sees it's like, "Oh my gosh, what an amazing catch. What an amazing play." And of course, when my dad's he was at the game, and he was like, "If you were faster, you wouldn't have to dive." So he reminded me of my speed numerous times, but the reality is we get opportunities, and you taking advantage of those opportunities, being your best, being disciplined. More opportunities come to people that have more discipline, that are focused, that are meaningful, that are intentional in their life. And then when you get those opportunities, you take advantage of them. Other people don't get opportunities because they don't put themselves out there. They don't give themselves the chances to do it. I've been blessed. I've had more opportunities to do amazing things. And Patrick, the other thing that happens with that is when you're constantly setting yourself up for success, failures become a lot easier because another success is coming. And if you only have 3 opportunities in your life, man, you better win all 3. When you have hundreds, hey, you can lose a bunch of times, and the world sees you as a winner because you've won so many other times. So that's kind of where I've been in the past from Flutie. He's an amazing human being. I mean, his work with autism, his daughter, the work he does in charities. I'm a huge fan. I'll always be a huge fan of he and his brother. His brother and I were roommates in San Diego for a period of time. Big fan of him, but yeah, his name being attached to a ball thrown to me. I keep telling everybody I made the catch. I'm not sure that's true. I think Gerard Phelan probably did. But anyway, I still made the other catch.
There you go. All right. So, Larry, let's get down to the premise of the project. And you had already, you kind of already spilled the beans earlier, but as you look at people and you try to classify how people go through their day, how they interact with people, with the world, there's two types of people in this world. What are they?
Yeah, the two types of people again, it's the people that decide or want or have a desire to do something, and then there are people that actually do it. And my days are filled with this reality of experience of people saying, "Gosh, Larry, I probably get a dozen calls a year of people saying, I'd love to build a consulting practice like you have." We have one of the most successful and profitable consulting practices in the U.S. and maybe in the world. And people say, "Gosh, how did you do it? I want that. I want that. I want to be like you. I want." And then I'll have people that I've been very successful in my sales career, my insurance sales career, and people say, "Gosh, I want to sell like you. I want to be like you. I want to have your success. I want to win you." And please understand, there's a lot of people more successful than me. I'm not the most successful human being out there, but people see me and want to be like me or accomplish my accomplishments. And Patrick, it's come to a place in my life where um, I don't say it out loud, but the majority of times I just look at them and say, "No, you don't. No, you don't want that. You want all the things that you see that I've accomplished, but I know you don't. You don't really want it because you'll say it and you'll have a desire and it's true passion, but what you don't want is to do what I had to do to get it." And you don't want to do all the things I've had to go through in my life to catch that one pass from Doug. You don't, that getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning in summers and going and working out and training. And when everybody else is sleeping because they were partying the night before. But I went to bed early and didn't go out with my friends because I knew I had to be up at 4 because I had to be finished with my workouts by around 6. And I had to be at work at 7 o'clock because I needed to make money in the summers as a college kid. So you don't want what I have. You don't want the things that I have in my life. You don't want to be a great consultant because you don't want to spend the hours that I spend reading and studying and understanding the business world that exists out there. So I look at them and I think you really don't want this. You really don't want what I've accomplished. But you know what? My objective is to try to help them get between the gap of this intellectual desire to do something and this reality of accomplishing it. And the story that you put in the book is the birds on the wire. That if you have 6 birds on a telephone wire or the electrical wires outside, and 4 of them decide to fly away, how many are left? And most people will say the answer is easy. Gosh, 6 minus 4, that's 2. But the answer is there's still 6 because deciding they want to fly away doesn't get them off the wire. It's actually doing it. It's getting off of it, and that's where people struggle. I think in life is the actions. I mean, how many people give annual New Year's resolutions and annual goals, and they set their plans, and everybody's got the desire, everybody has the goal, everybody has the things that they want, and even to the extent of these people that put these visual boards up and they put pictures on refrigerators on. Everybody can see what they want, but what they can't see is what they have to do to get it. And then they won't put the effort into it and they won't push through the hard things to get there. And so the majority of the world ends up short of what they really would like to get accomplished. And so I think that's the two kinds of people. And it's so evident to me that that's the only answer to the two kinds of people, of course, because that's my world. I'm out coaching and developing, helping people accomplish things. And by the way, I have a lot of people overcome those issues. I help them become doers. I help them become people that get to the point of execution and results. And I'm proud of that. That's what I want. I want any human being that ever engages with me to be better the minute after we engage. But it's tough to change the reality of most human beings, and that is Our brains have a lot more desire of what we want to accomplish than what we really want to put the effort in, and the intellect and the strategy and the execution to get to that place. So that's the challenge between the two.
We were talking about it earlier this week, actually. So I'm going through with the publisher right now, and we're finalizing the book cover. And part of the subtitle is right there, and it's in a different color. And Alexis at the office and I were talking about it. And the subtitle part of it is to decide, act, and grow. And so we were looking at those words, and Alexis said, well, decide and act, isn't that kind of the same thing? I said, aha, there's a chapter coming up in an interview just next week. But it is, because a lot of people would say, right? Like, I decided to do it. And if you look at the root word of decision, it is to cut off. Like, you're actually supposed to cut off the Latin meaning, and that's it, right? So people think that they're making that decision, but no. They have an idea, they see the end result. And, we talk about this all the time on this show, on the Determined Society. You and I have talked about it. You talk about it on stage, is social media, the AI world that we're in. It's so easy to see the end result because it's broadcast all the time. But what they don't see is all the things that go into catching that pass. We were talking about before the show here about doing an Ironman, right? And it's like, well, how many hours would you have to put in for that? It's a lot. It's 10 to 15 hours of biking. It's this, that, and the other thing. It's 26 weeks of training plan. It's all things. But people see, oh, the lights and the carpet with the M dot on it, and you could get the tattoo and the medal and all that, and it's amazing, and it is. But like, you have to be willing to put in all that work and all that pain.
That's right.
And all that goes with that alone to get to the end.
Patrick, in the last couple of years, a new revelation finally came to me. I don't know why I didn't see this earlier in my life, but when it comes to these things that we want and these things that we intellectually say, I want that, I'd like to have that, I'd like to get this outcome. So much of our life is defined by when those things happen. We say, oh, look, I finished this race. Oh, look, I set this time, or I caught this pass, or I built this business, or I got this sale on my company. All of those things are what showcases what we've accomplished. But I've come to a conclusion that what really makes us successful is not what we do or what we've accomplished. It's what we gave up. I will tell you, the majority of people that have accomplished great things are more defined, if you knew their history, they're more defined by what they didn't do, what they stopped doing, what they quit doing. So when you look at me and say, oh my gosh, Larry, you walked onto these teams, you played in college, you were, an all conference player, you did all these things, you were in the NFL, you did. And that's what they see. But that's not what really defined me. I mean, yes, that's the visual, but here's what really defined me: 4 a.m. wake ups, not eating things I shouldn't, not drinking, quitting drinking for many years, and now not drinking at all again. The things that are uncomfortable, the things that are hard. The number of times I've had, even as an adult, I've had people say things like, "You're not drinking? Oh, come on, man." They try to bring you right back into the comfort zone where they like you to be. You're uncomfortable to them if you don't drink. You're uncomfortable if you go work out more than them. When I was in college and people wanted me to go partying, and I'm like, not going. I'm not going, because in 2 months from now, I have to do my time trial, and I'm going to do 2.5 miles in 12 minutes. We had a 12-minute run, and my goal was 2.5 miles, and I got it. I hit it. Nobody else did. But nobody else was up at 4 o'clock in the morning. So it's what we gave up, what we didn't do, what we stopped doing. I gave up early morning sleep. I gave up going out at night. I gave up food and alcohol and things that it's what you quit doing that will really establish the definition of who you become. And when all that happened, now it's easy to go get those results. That's the easy part, because all the work was done.
It's the byproduct of all the work and all the sacrifice, right? I mean, you look at what you gave up and also what you lost. There's lost opportunities, there's lost relationships. You talk about in the book, people were giving you a hard time because you were right in the middle of not the current book, which we'll talk about, but the previous book. Wasn't keeping that. Yes. It was the one before that.
Yes.
But your friends during COVID, What else were they going to do? They were going to golf. So their golf game is getting better. Yours is getting worse because you're focusing on building other businesses, writing another book, doing all of the things. So it's
Yeah.
about, it's truly about, I talk about it on the Determined Society. My definition of determination is remembering why you started in the first place.
Mm.
So you really went deep on it in your chapter of saying, and this is something that you taught me very early on. You said, you're in a position now, I was a consultant with, large insurance agencies, 24 years old. I'm an owner and we're international, doing all these things. Said, you're going to be in a place where you're making people uncomfortable. You're not going to have people cheering you on. You're not going to have a big crowd behind you going, this is amazing. It's going to be pretty
Yes.
lonely. But if you keep
Yes.
doing the right thing, then you're going to have the byproduct of a small group of friends, family that supports you, all these different things. And so it really is about pushing past what people are telling you, is pushing past what you think you should be doing because social media is saying it. It's pushing past your own internal head trash garbage, saying this sucks, this isn't worth it, because at the end of the day, you know why you started. And that's a hard thing to remember. So I
Yeah.
want you to talk a little bit about that, because it's that uncomfortable part of you going, I'm going to be disciplined. I know what I have to do today. It's these things, not what my friends want, what my wife wants, whatever.
Yeah. Well, it just clearly uh, knowing why, and that's like I said in the beginning of this show today, that I wake up in the morning and say one of my major purposes is to honor the decision that my wife made. How will I honor that today? And so that focus alone can begin a day. Then I go into business planning every day. Every day I look at my goals and my objectives, because it's about what the things I want to accomplish. I want to be intentional. I don't want to be some kind of a freak that has no fun in life, and I just want to be intentional, and I want to maximize my potential and be intentional about it. And I know I'm probably going to ruin your whole show here, but I know I'm supposed to bring something that I wear. Um, and the something that I wear is really fitting right now. So I'm gonna
Let's
show
go.
that, and we're going to talk about it. So, one of the things that I learned from a friend, and this was about 12 years ago, he had these bracelets, and this is what it looks like. It says "I will" on there, and he had these bracelets, and he said, Larry, I wear this bracelet because every day I want to focus on three things that I will do towards my goals, towards what I'm trying to get accomplished. So back to your point, why am I doing this in the first place? What am I wanting to get done? And every day, three things. And so I took on the challenge with him that every day we text each other. Every day I tell him I will do three things. The next day I say I did or I didn't do them. And then I will do three more things. And that became a standard in my life. And I've done this now for these 12 years. The number of things I get accomplished with that type of focus of what is it that I really want to get done? What will I do each day towards that intentionality? And then all of a sudden, I'm hitting goals faster and faster and faster and faster. Well, what I found was I told that story to a lot of people, Patrick. A lot of people hear the "I will" story, and it's powerful and it works. But then I would have people that say, I kind of fell off the rails. I didn't do this. I couldn't get this done. I ate too much. I ate this. I drank this. I didn't sleep here. I didn't work out. I quit working out. All those things kept coming. I kept thinking, why? What is it that's stopping people? And I realized that I am blessed. Somebody somehow got into my head when I was a kid. Um, when I was a kid, I had a gift that others didn't have. And that is the ability to go way out in the future and ask my future self, what should I do? And I don't know if you've ever seen the marshmallow or the M&M thing that the kids did back in, it's like 1970s. I don't even remember the exact story, but I remember seeing it on TV one time that these little kids were put with, let's just call it M&Ms. It might've been marshmallows, but let's call it M&Ms. And what they did is these little 3 and 4, I think 5-year olds, they would put M&Ms in front of them and they would say, look, we're going to leave the room. You can eat those if you want. But if you wait, when we come back and there's still some there, we'll give you more. So they leave, and they got films on them. I mean, these kids are moving the M&Ms around with their nose. They're flipping them. They're licking them. They're doing everything they can. Some kids go, I can't handle it. I got to eat it. Other kids went, I'm waiting because there's more coming. And so they followed these kids for another 20, 30 years. And what they found was the kids that had immediate gratification were the ones that had mostly failed lives, struggles, challenges, difficulties, because immediate gratification was a driver to them. So I'm gonna go drink because everybody's drinking right now. I'm gonna go party because everybody's partying. I'm not gonna work out because I'm hurting right now. I'm sore. Versus the kids that said, I'm waiting. They're the ones that had higher degrees that they finished with. They had higher successes in life. They had longer marriages, all these success factors. So it's an amazing reality of immediate gratification being one of the biggest killers of human success. And so what I did was I built, and I have hundreds of these now, but I have my I will brace, but on the other side it says future me. And future me is a reminder constantly that every decision I make all day long, there's somebody in the future that's going to be impacted right here. So why not ask his advice? Why not go and say, okay, Larry, you're 10 years from now. Right now, you're deciding, do you want to go through and work out again when your body's hurt and you're sore? Do you really want to go hit this workout? Or do you think hanging back and watching, football today is better? Sometimes watching football is better. It is, because maybe you need to. But ask your future self. And the ability to get in tune with future you will help you make better decisions. And so ultimately, when we start talking about this whole package of reality that you're speaking of, what is the why in the beginning? Why am I doing it? What do I want to accomplish? Be as clear as you can. Then be clear on the path to get there. Because if you don't know the path, I mean, you want to go run a marathon or you want to do a triathlon, are you just going to take off out of your house and go, which direction I want to go to? I'll go that way. You just take off and go and run till you're tired? Or do you say, man, there needs to be a plan? There's a clear action item and plans because there's data out there, there's information that will help me get to where I need to get so that when I get to race day, I have fun. And that's what I did as a bike racer. I mean, I've done the Leadville 100 twice. I've done all kinds of bike races. I've been a top ranked racer in my classification. And when I go out and train, I don't just train to train. I'm training with intentionality and purpose because I know what I can do today. Ultimately, on race day, I want it to be fun. I rode my bike from San Francisco to San Diego 2 years ago. It was 2 weeks before I had my knee replaced. But I rode my bike from San Francisco to San Diego. The training for that was every time I went out, I saw a hill, a mountain, something to climb. I would go as hard as I could, and I suffered. I suffered for months. You know why? Because when I was riding San Francisco to San Diego on Highway 1, I wanted to see the ocean. I wanted to see the people. I wanted to see the mountains. I wanted to drive 17-mile drive through the most beautiful, Pebble Beach golf courses and stuff. And I wanted to see them. I didn't want to be exhausted and worn out and looking down at my top tube on my bike. I wanted to have fun. So I was willing to suffer, but my future me kept saying, Larry, you know what it's going to be like to ride looking around versus looking down? Let's go. And so the future me kept me disciplined to keep executing to the end. And that's what it takes is the full package to do versus just want to do.
I love it, buddy. So I want to before we get all the way down, I do want to talk about the new book. So let's talk about that real quickly. And then we'll start wrapping this thing up and get you back on your way. So keeping it light.
Keeping it light. Isms that inspire, motivate, build culture, and make tough decisions a breeze. That is written by David Pattison and myself. The story behind this is David Pattison is a brilliant executive. I'm CEO of Insight Performance Group. We work with insurance agencies and brokerages all over the U.S. and Canada. One of my clients is David. He's an amazing guy. He's an amazing brain. He loves teaching and training younger people on leadership, on life, on decision making, all the things. Everything we've talked about today is in this book. I mean, those things are the kinds of things we do. And what happened was he has these isms. They actually call them Pattisonisms, and it is firm. And all these isms were out there, and they're just themes of decision making and tough choices and how to push through things and how to deal with leadership issues and how to deal with problems with people and all these kinds of things. And so he asked me, he said, or I asked him, I said, can I write your book of these isms? He said, I'd love it because he couldn't. He said, I'm not a writer. So I go after it, and we had about 18 pages of notes. And I said, I don't think I got enough for a book. What do you think about me taking your principles, my experiences, and let's write this thing together? We'll take all of your brilliant concepts and ideas, themes and theories, and I'll build the story behind it. We agreed to do it, wrote the book. It released 2 weeks ago. It is getting rave reviews. Amazon has even invested more in the book because they believe in it. It's going to be audio here in a couple of weeks. It's fun. It's 42 independent chapters, kind of like your book, the two types of people. It's 42 independent chapters that stand alone, a page and a half to 3 pages. You can read chapter 22, then chapter 1, and it doesn't matter, whatever the order is. But it's 145 pages. It's an easy read, short chapters, but it's funny, it's fun, it's engaging. If you like the kind of things I'm talking about here today, you're going to like the book because it's going to be one after another at a page and a half to 2-page read of just really cool things. And in honor of you, by the way, there is one item, and I did not take this from you. These are all his topics, but one of the chapter titles, chapter 20, is Two Types of People.
Well, there you go.
It's David's Two Types of People.
Well, we'll have to ask David at some point what his 2 types are. But if the listeners want to know, they can pick up the book. So it's available on Amazon, everywhere. They can certainly connect with you. Probably the best place is LinkedIn. Again, Larry, just an unbelievable friend, mentor to me, someone who has helped me personally, professionally. And it was 2006 when I went down. I can't remember what city in Florida. I can't remember if it was Tampa or Orlando. But I checked into the Renaissance. I still have the envelope. I actually still have the letter in my office, but I had a note or a letter waiting for me from Larry Linne. And I walked into my hotel room and I read it. And it was just, here's your journey, buddy. Here's what's going to happen. Meet me for breakfast. I think it was at 6:30. And I went, oh my God, 6:30. The hell is this guy thinking? But it's just been an incredible journey, buddy, from intellectual innovations to Insight, what is now Insight, everything you've done, we've done together with the books, and to have you in Two Types. I can't wait for people to read your chapter. It's one of the most intellectual ones for sure, but it still has that West Texas. We talk about cattle and hat, I'm sure, and ducks being ducks and all the things that make Larry Linne who Larry Linne is. But man, I'm glad we had you on, and I can't wait for people to watch this episode. And certainly as we get closer to publishing next summer, I'm sure we'll have you back on just to talk about some of this stuff and everything you've got going on. Congrats with the new book, and Thank probably you. The next 6 you have lined up.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I am a huge fan of Two Types of People. It is going to be an absolute blockbuster book. I hope it becomes a TV series or something that can even go beyond that, because I think the brilliance behind your concept, it is amazing to me how you've talked to dozens and dozens and dozens of people, and no 2 people have the same 2 types of people. I think that's just brilliance, and I think it's exciting. This is going to be a great book, and I'm wishing all the success, and I'll help you sell a bunch of them.
Thank you, buddy. Well, I appreciate you, and yeah, we're about, I think, over 40 interviews now, and not a repeat yet. So I'm sure it'll happen at some point, but that's what I love about it, is they're going to have their own spin and experience of why they answered it. And that's what I want the viewers to get from this, is to take, this specific chapter, this specific episode, and say, okay, where am I deciding versus acting? And then go to the next chapter and say, where am I, motivated versus floating, and all the other things. So I appreciate you, man. And just thank you for being the first person who knew about the project, and certainly a lifelong supporter of me and everything that we got going on. So appreciate you.
Yeah, bro. Thank you. Thank you.